I can't wait to play the new update. Oh, it's gonna be so good, I just know it. Oh, I just love numbers!
I think we've all looked forward to seeing the next patch notes to see how they're gonna nerf that one game-breaking character, or add that new killer feature. Just to find out, they're buffing them again, and splitting the update. 3 fucking times! Due to this, the features we were shown took 1.5 years and not the 6 months like it was supposed to.
What the fuck, Microsoft? ×2.
Now, I was actually once defensive of Mojang, saying things like, well, they always prioritize quality over quantity, but then I learned how to code and realized, damn, this shit's brain dead. Is it true that sometimes you miscalculate how long something will take?
Yes.
However, doing it not once but twice for something that mods have made very clear does not even require nearly half that time, and even their own damn snapshots make that clear, it really makes you start to question your faith in the good old rainbow sheep in the clouds. Remember, a mod is made by one or just a few people. Minecraft is made by a few hundred. Many of them former modders themselves. The quality of the updates and skill of the developers is not the problem. The problem is that they are so infrequent combined with underwhelming amounts of content. If it was released with as much content as was promised for the Caves and Cliffs update originally, or released as much as they do per update 4 times a year, instead of the 2 times the game currently does, it would be in a much better state. However, as it currently stands, the only reason for these updates to take so long is egregious misuse of resources. That manifests as the updates being done, and then they just stare for like 3 months. Most of the updates are done, but they need to make sure the item doesn't lose the staring contest.
You blinked first, fucker!
How often a game updates and how much a game adds per update is really important. It can decide a lot in terms of how long players will continue to play or how many players will return or leave based on updates. If you're a game like PUBG that shuts down for 8.5 hours each time you update, maybe you don't want constant updates. However, if you're a game like Minecraft, where the root of the game relies on doing everything yourself and therefore is entirely based on your own motivations, having constant updates could lead to players being able to get back into the game. After taking a break, coming back to a bunch of new stuff to play with is reinvigorating. This is where we get to the core of Minecraft's problem. It releases really underwhelming content really infrequently. The other thing is the items are implemented basically immediately. You can see how fast development moves in these snapshots. And it really makes you wonder how or why these games take so long to update. To understand this, let's look at the 3 eras of Minecraft updates. First was the beginning era, which fittingly starts in the first versions, all the way to beta 1.8, which was basically the release of the game and was the most controversial update of its time, as it added hunger, sprinting, and pulling back a bow.
In other words, the average night in the woods.
Second was the post-release era, where the updates were super inconsistent, some were large like 1.7, reworking and adding in a ton of biomes, and others were 1.6. Well, let's play what was added to Minecraft in version 1.6!
I know, it was horses!
No, dumbass, horses weren't added until 1.6.1.
What the fuck?
Yet the major addition to the game, the primary part of the update, wasn't added until after it was released. Then the era ended with versions 1.10 through 1.12, polar bears and terracotta being renamed. Riveting. The final updates of this era were really where they were showing that they were struggling to add more content, and it was really starting to be felt by both myself and many others. However, we have the modern era, and what is in the modern era? 1.13, the aquatic update. This was the era of biomes and empty promises, and adding one of the most draconian chat report systems of all time. It started strong, 1.13 with updating the oceans, and 1.14 with the new villagers, which were some of the best changes the game has received in years. This was following them announcing a constant twice-a-year release schedule. However strong this era started, its progress was ground to a halt with the Bugs and Bees update, or 1.15. In other words, a bug fix update. That took 6 months to develop. Actually, let me just check that real quick.
8 fucking months?!
But then we got a new nether. and the promise of a reworked overworld on a scale not seen since the adventure update of 1.7. This was where the problem started. This is the update I can point to and say killed the game for me, in a few small but major decisions. First, the update was split. Honestly, I say this with all sincerity, they should have just delayed the entire update. Even though in all honesty, it is insane to me that a studio that massive, with a game so easy to add features to, with some of the most talented developers of all time, could fall this far behind. It is insane to me. Except for if you paid attention, they did have the new terrain already. They just didn't want to release it, for admittedly performance and being unhappy with it reasons, but it's clear they did not need to split the update, as it could have just taken a month or two in the oven to iron out those instead of just splitting it up and taking a full year. The reason I believe the update should have been delayed was two key reasons. One, releasing part of the content made the update feel done, before the train was finished cooking.
You smell that? That's the smell of a gas leak. Oh, and there's an update cooking.
It made me and others feel like there wasn't anything new. New terrain can't uphold an update on its own. The reason 1.7 was so good was because it added so many new biomes and trees instead of just pre-existing biomes. What did 1.18 add? New caves? The Deep Dark? Despite them being incredible and truly cool experiences, they just felt already done. And like there was nothing new to them, as all the new cool items that came with them were already there because they were already in the game and had ways to get them. And don't get me started on Deep Slate. Deep Slate ruins your ability to insta-mine, which generally, I'm in favor of making the game more difficult again. I find it exceedingly easy in every way. But digging through Deep Slate isn't fun, and mining with Instamine was a core element of the game, and one of the most fun features for large builds. Do you really think this base would have been possible otherwise? Ignore the obsidian. And yes, this was survival, I don't have problems. However, returning to my main point, content droughts are what Minecraft experienced. Massive game-altering content droughts. That's what stopped at least my enjoyment in the game. And the same thing happened to Overwatch. Look at these graphs. Both games were absolutely beloved around their release, and in the years immediately following. But as time went on, people experienced all the game had to offer and both tapered off their content. Meaning there was very little reason to continue playing. The only time where these graphs don't look identical is when 3 updates released from Minecraft in a year. However, if you look at those updates, Polar Bears, renamed Terracotta, and the worst received update of all time! What an incredible police lineup. Where was I? Yes, the game's graphs almost perfectly match their searches and how many updates they received.
This is no coincidence.
Players need games to change to keep things interesting. While a game like Minecraft was able to survive and mostly recover from its decline, Overwatch struggled. And the reason for this is quite clear. Minecraft has much more massively replayable content, but that cushion could only hold for so long. The longer the game rides that replayable content, the less replayable that content will continue to be. And because, at its core, Minecraft didn't receive any major overall game-altering changes for years and years, until 1.18, and for all the reasons I previously said it didn't land well, at least to me, it's no wonder why the game has struggled to hold mine and many other people's attention while keeping people who didn't play through 1.17's content very interested. By playing through the stepping stone of an update, we kind of ruined the experience for ourselves, punishing us for being loyal. Overwatch 2 is finding itself at the same position it was at the end of Overwatch 1. However, to their credit, they have noticed the issue and stated they intend to make core gameplay loop changes every 6 months to a year to keep the game interesting. Whether or not they do well on that, only time will tell, but there is still hope. In a lot of ways, the fates of both Minecraft and Overwatch are parallel. Both had major, nearly game-killing content droughts. Both had overpromised and underdelivered key game-altering updates.
And are both owned by Microsoft.
Truly the circle of life. It's like I live in a time loop where I'm cursed to only like games with egregiously questionable management that end up being acquired by Microsoft. Though at this point, that's like almost half of the game industry, so The problem with over-promising and under-delivering is it drives away many long-term consistent players who were holding out hope for that new content. In the same way that the cancellation of PvE content for Overwatch devastated the community. Splitting the Caves and Cliffs update killed Minecraft for a lot of people, myself included. I went from playing 3 hours a day to barely playing once a month, and that is the cost of not only content droughts, but content droughts that are supposed to have massive payoffs that fail to deliver. It is too much risk. Which is why I really think that Minecraft's current strategy of 2 updates a year is not working. It could if they were on the scale of what Caves and Cliffs was originally promised, but these updates are too small to be worth the wait, because they take too long to develop under the leadership at Mojang. Truthfully, I can't say for sure what is going on within Mojang Studios. From what I can tell, it seems like their systems are too fragmented, and the management doesn't seem to understand how to utilize the truly talented individuals within their company. If you want proof I'm not talking on my ass on this shit, here's a mod I made when I was 14 with 0 Java experience in a week. Did I get generation code to work? Fuck no. Did I add an armor set and new blocks?
Yep.
Trees?
Yep.
Are you seriously going to tell me that adding or changing a biome or adding new entities takes so long that it is a 6 months process every update for hundreds of developers? What are they doing? Rewriting the systems for biomes each update? Because I'm not even sure if that would take 6 months. The developers they have, I know are more than capable of releasing updates this size 4 times a year. If they are properly managed instead of whatever clusterfuck of unnecessary products they are shoehorning the Minecraft name into and then shutting down a year later. Regardless, every Minecraft update draws players back in for a week or 2 to play with friends, and then those worlds get left immediately, until after the next update. The game needs more late game content or just to receive consistent or at least larger updates. I don't think the best-selling game of all time should be able to dodge responsibility for taking so long to deliver what is in all reality basic content. The next update is shaping up to look pretty good with the introduction of the crafter seeming really interesting, and I'm looking forward to using it in my next base.
Let me just check when that update is expected. Middle of the year? That's like 5 months! It's in the fucking game already!